Needed.
You are now tapped in. 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 You are now tapped into the soft power frequency.
Coming to you live from the village in the sky. This is Soft Power Hour. Welcome, everyone, to the Church of Soft Power. My name is Siobhan, and I am one of the founding artists, along with me, Dorothy, here, of this lay-led church for the spirits of creativity, connection, care, change, and choice. Soft Power Hour is our live stream service gathering on the first Monday of every month here on Soft Power TV for an hour connection with our community, with our breath, with our bodies, and our spirits. And so I'm going to tap us into the soft power frequency, inviting you to grab a snack, a beverage, your comfort items. I've just got the stride brush here, anything to help you connect with yourself and your body. That is the intention here tonight. And I'm going to bring us in, starting with our vocal tone practice gifted to the church by our founding artist, Dr. Kiki. And so I am feeling a heart tone today. I should have, next time I'll pull up a little graphic for you to choose your own chakra. But we are going to do the consonant ah. I'm going to sing ah 3 times. On the first time, I invite you to do it in unison with me. And on the second and third times, you can harmonize with your voice, with your body, or continue in unison with me. And so just exhaling everything that you brought with you to this space, shaking anything extra off your body before taking in a big fresh breath. And joining me with an ah. As Kiki says, try to let all the air get out, visualize it clearing everything all the way down to your belly button or further before taking in a big breath. Imagining as you're releasing, maybe roots dropping in, connecting here into the present moment, whether you're with us live or watching back later, before we take our last breath. And we are now tapped into the solar frequency. I already see the chat popping off. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for joining us live here, and love seeing who's present in the energy bank. Shout out to the creator of that term, Flo, our other founding artist, and just sending love to Dr. Kiki and Flo wherever they're at as they are on their sabbatical for the season. So in the vein of, a little opening logistics, I wanted to bring up, before we dive in, our current new campaign. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat and really just wanted to invite anybody watching, if you're not already, to consider contributing to Church of Soft Power on a monthly basis. We had a lot of changes, a lot of shifts, and the theme today, as the email said, is flowering. And we are in need of $125 more of monthly contributions in order to continue on having our Zoom streamer that we stream from, all of our little monthly operational necessities. We are a volunteer-run, led church, and we have opened up more space for others to be sharing. Shout out to Merrick Sizzy, who's in the chat, who has been writing beautiful, beautiful start of the month emails the last couple months that are super thoughtful, super intentional. So thank you, Merrick, for volunteering your time. And thank you to everyone who's just been showing up. We will share all of the events at the end when Midori does announcements. But this is what we are in need of to continue expanding this stage for artists and alchemists to share their medicine, share their gifts. We had the last couple of months too the return of our circle, which is our group for people who are sharing services, caregivers, care practitioners, spiritual practitioners, and we are really getting like recommitted on a deeper level to this world building that we started about 5 years ago together. If you don't know the old story, Midori opened up this world in 2021 with Soft Power Co-working, which is still every Wednesday. And since then, we have had such a journey. Back then, we did not know that we were going to establish as a church. But we have listened to our spirits of where we need to show up and continued to hold space for one another, to be in ritual. And throughout that time, I think our own practices have unveiled, and ritual being super foundational to how we've been able to grow up, to transform. If you've been here, you have seen, especially Midori and I have been the most visible on the streaming and on the public end, and y'all have watched us transform in radical ways. When I started this, I was in a marriage. I was in a completely different place energetically and physically. And since that time, we've opened homes. We've just done so much together and witnessed one another through so much. And when I see who's in the chat, I think of all the transformations we've witnessed one another through. And it's all been made possible to grow in this way through our monthly contributions, as well as the energetic contributions by sharing, inviting friends, shouting us out on social media. And we're here to stay. Is really like the next leg of this journey is us building. We've grown in the clarity. We established a commitment, we've grown the clarity, and now we're being pushed into more courage to ask for what we need. And so, yeah, thank you for your continued support. This link is also in the description of the stream of the video, and just $125 to keep things going in this beautiful universe we've created. So thank you for listening to my share on that. And I'm going to pass it to Murray for a little nervous system somatic tending.
Wow, thank you, Siobhan. Siobhan is the Sag rising to my Venus and Gemini, by the way. I feel like Siobhan is always synthesizing everything so well. So just give it up for Siobhan. Always knows how to, share what the vision is in a way that I feel like my nervous system receives it. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. So thank you, Siobhan. Thank you for communicating the vision. I'm going to ground us a little bit. So get a little comfortable wherever you're at, if you're seated or perhaps laying down or lounging on the couch. Just encouraging you to get like 5% more comfortable. Grab any comfort items. Maybe it's a plushie or your stem tools, and let's land here together and drop deeper into our bodies. So just taking some intentional deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll do 3 of those together. Feeling the breath travel in through and fill up our lungs, expanding the belly. And on the exhale, releasing your breath down the body, down, down, down. Then cycling in again, breathing in, expanding the belly. And releasing, perhaps releasing any energy that feels like through the breath that needs to be transmuted as an offering to the earth. Last one, breathing in, syncing our breath together and relaxing, exhaling, feeling that breath travel down the body. We'll begin with our hands here, rubbing them together and cultivating some life force, some chi, feeling the heat build up in the hands and placing the hands anywhere on the body that you would like a little loving touch. So I'm going to start at my shoulders here, but maybe you perhaps need just to place your hands somewhere in stillness on the body that needs love and you don't want a lot of stimulation, so welcoming that. But we can do a little squeeze down the arms. Venus is in Gemini, so we're going to do a little concentration on the arms here. Gemini is ruled by the arms and the hands, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a hand massage. So working down the arm to the hands. Just noticing that your hand is made up of a lot of small bones and joints. And so maybe even taking a look at your hand, noticing what it needs. I like to kind of run my finger along the fingertips, massaging and warming up the joints a little bit. You can move to the other hand. Massage the palm of your hand. Massaging along the joints on the fingers as well. Swiping off any energy on the arms and flicking it off down to the earth. We're going to start to kind of swipe down the front of the body as well. Down the tummy, down the legs, down the shins, to our feet. Inviting maybe now some hip rotations. Starting off kind of slow, feeling the articulation in the spine as you rotate your hips and start to kind of feel them opening up a little bit. Taking deep breaths as maybe perhaps you start to widen the circle that you're drawing with your hips a little bit more. Being gentle with our bodies, switching directions, moving our hips in the other direction, taking breaths to, sometimes I kind of feel the energy start to surge up into my breath, so I'll kind of release with an sound. Feel that kind of energy start going up now into my jaw. So I'm going to start to release the jaw a little bit. Learning from Dr. Kiki that our jaw can hold a lot of tension. So bringing, like Siobhan's doing, bring a little bit of perhaps touch into the jaw. We have some lymph nodes that live along this area of the jaw. So you can kind of bring maybe perhaps some of that lymph fluid down too while you're touching and massaging your jaw. I like to put my fingers in between my ears and draw it down, kind of release that. Open your mouth. Ha. Let the tongue stick out. Yeah. We're gonna get a little feral. Releasing with sound anytime you feel like that feels helpful. We're in Taurus season as well, so we're going to work on the neck a little bit, moving the lymph fluid down the neck. Ooh, that feels good. And it's pretty wild. At least for me, I really do feel when I'm moving that stagnant fluid down. So you can really just play with the pressure here. You don't have to do that too hard. The lymph moves pretty easily. And then we work it into our shoulder here, a little massage to our shoulders. And sometimes when I do this, I realize how much I needed touch. I'm like, wow, I really needed this. You can also work into the armpits a little bit. Massaging in circular motions or pulling a little bit of pressure towards the heart. You can do this over your clothes too, but I prefer to reach under my clothes. So that's what I'm doing. Maybe some shoulder circles now. Rotating the shoulders back in a circular motion. And then rotating them forward. Now taking the arms and inviting you to do some big circles to open up the shoulders and the arms. You can even reach your head up towards the sky and open up your chest and your heart space as we continue to drop into awareness and into this portal of the heart frequency, of the love frequency. So now let's move in the opposite direction, moving our arms towards each other. Just really opening up the shoulders, opening up the chest. You can move as slow or as fast as feels good for you. Let's conclude with just shaking our hands out. I think that feels good. Thank you, everybody. I hope that supported you in landing here today and connecting a little deeper with your body. it's such an honor to practice with you. Here we go. So I'm going to transition and put my astrologer hat on, and we're going to move into our little bit of our planet Shabbat in the agenda called a planetary sermon. So I will be astrologer Mimi is here with your weather report. I know there's so much content out there around astrology, and I just respect like every astrologer's take on what's happening and how to make sense of what is happening collectively and in our personal lives. But I really see as astrology as an opportunity to understand like the medicine of time and how we are in relationship with ourselves, each other, the collective, and the cosmos. So I really see the planets as planetary ancestors. These are beings that we have since the beginning of time been in relationship with. So it's a little preface into how I see astrology. I'm not necessarily the most technical astrologer. I'm still learning transit astrology, but I'm here to kind of provide a snapshot or what I feel like is helpful and what feels most present in my body to bring to y'all, especially during this month, during this year of so much change and transformation that we have experienced. So I'm kind of just here to give everybody my take on that. And one of the things that I want to explain in coming into this is that the moon is currently void until 12:06 p.m. tomorrow. And I wanted to bring in void moons into the field because they're a really great way to time when you need rest, and when rest is I think just like in the field is just really helpful because a void, of course, moon refers to the period when the moon is finished its major aspect with another planet and it's not yet entered the next sign. So if you don't know what that means, it's basically a time where the moon is not hitting anything else in the collective chart, and it's considered to be running in the void, which like astrologically translates to like a temporary energetic lull or like a rest period. So this is like a really good time. Today we just had the full moon in the Scorpio. And so the full moon in Scorpio was very intense. It's moon expressing in a sign of fall, meaning that the moon does not feel comfortable in the sign of Scorpio. And so if you've been feeling very emotionally volatile, or if there's things that feel like are coming up to the surface emotionally, this is a really good time to just like integrate, to just take a break, to not expect your body to want to move forward with action, with, you know, your plans. So I personally have been feeling very tired in general the past couple weeks. But I think this time, and void, of course, moons are just a really good time to just give yourself permission to rest, to integrate, to journal, to take care of yourself, to maybe do a little cleaning or do something that feels energetically clearing. Also to note is that many of you may know that the sun is in Taurus, which is a receptive, fixed earth sign, as well as Mercury just moved into there, I believe on Saturday. So it's just this time of the year, we are in the middle of spring. And so this is a good time to do your spring cleaning, to attune to more sensory pleasures, to attune to the body, center your body in the human experience, move slower. Move slower. I know Siobhan just has been home tending and getting, doing a little bit of thrifting and finding some like glassware she really likes. I've been rearranging my kitchen because I've just felt like that space has been like, it just needed to move. It was like talking to me and being like, this is not its final form. And so I've just been kind of like moving things slowly and also not rushing that process. So yeah, during tourist season, it's just a really great time to like stop and smell the flowers. Like literally the flowers are in bloom. Like how can you enjoy the spring season and be present with nature? Um, Maybe give offerings to your local tree, or go on a walk every day in your park and just start to notice the way that things are starting to bloom. Um, Mars there is, I would say, on Wednesday of this week, Mars will be square Jupiter. And so that will be activating a little bit more of our life force. And I think that those two planets can definitely cause more like spurring us into action. So anything that you has been like itching at you, I think will be more, you'll have more access to your life force and be able to make that happen at the middle of the week. Um, and from a outer planet perspective, and outer planets symbolize collective shifts, collective shifts in our on what happens on a kind of global scale. Uranus has transited into Gemini as of April 25th. So this transit is going to happen and does not move out of Gemini until 2033. So we can really expect, the biggest shift with this is like expecting the unexpected in terms of news, communication, as we've seen with technology. So I think to like kind of a little bit of the polarity of the contradiction of moving slowly and being attuned to our bodies, that allows us to stay grounded when there are a lot of unexpected shifts that are going to occur um, over the next, what, like 9 years. So if you felt that within you, if you start seeing more news come out, you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that to happen. That's just the water we're swimming in. Um, and yeah, I think like there's also a major outer planet, Pluto, goes retrograde on Wednesday as well. So Mars square Jupiter on Wednesday, as well as Pluto goes retrograde on Wednesday. So there is, and when I say Pluto is going retrograde, Pluto is this planet of transformation, of yeah, I think I would say that there's a signature around that. That Pluto retrograde goes until October of this year. So that is going to be the time of conversations, things that have needed to occur that haven't, the timing just doesn't feel quite right. Like I think we're going to be able to access more of that once Pluto goes retrograde on Wednesday to kind of like close the gap or find solutions for things that over the course until fall of what has needed to be resolved. And so all that to say, I know there's a lot of information, but I would say that astrology, at least to me, allows me to kind of like organize my reality more, to know that like everything is going to happen in its own timing. And it can allow me to see patterns more clearly, and hopefully like by providing a little bit of the snapshot, to also use astrology in like the most simplest terms of like, okay, the sun is moving into Taurus. We're literally in the middle of spring. Like, what are some things that have to do with spring? I think of, and Siobhan really is going to talk about this later in this in Soft Power Hour, but is to talk about flowering. Like we are in this moment of like some of our seeds potentially coming to bloom, and in what ways can we continue to just nourish and water those seeds consistently in ways that are sustainable to us, because we are going to be coming up with a lot of noise that are in the collective around things that are shifting in the news, things potentially that our expectations, I think, are going to be split open. So how could we just continue to regulate and continue to build the systems and structures that and routines that ground us in this moment together? So yeah, change and transformation is upon us always. So I think I'll leave it there. The planetary ancestors are here to are always going to be interacting with us. And yeah, I'm just grateful that I could be a messenger of the times in this way. So I'll hand it back over to Siobhan.
Thank you, Midori, for your planetary sermon, your weather report. I love that y'all are loving the banner, so let me switch it up to our default one. Yeah, just have fun here with our show production. Um, but yeah, I appreciate, just like others were saying in the chat, the affirmation. And, if we're feeling this need to rest today, I was so sleepy, and it's just like, okay, cool. That's exactly what I need. And these ebbs and flows are essential to the watering and the flowering of our visions for what we're here to bring to life. And yeah, like I was saying when we started, and like you and I were texting about earlier today, like this, it's really incredible to experience how so much of the last few years of like really divesting our energy, and like I really see it as like unplugging our, when we say re-dash sourcing, shout out Willa, highly human, because I think of them whenever I say that word now. We say like resourcing artists because, a lot of people hear resourcing and they think that means like we're giving money to artists, which like goal, absolutely. But really, when we think about expanding our concept of resourcing, we would joke a lot about like re dash source, because we are like unplugging from one source of energy into a different way of being. And this is like the decolonization work, attuning to the seasons. And I'm just recalling this. I remember like reading something, which I don't know the source, but it's kind of obvious at the same time. But it's awakened me to thinking that they were like the invention of the like light bulb and like electricity, and how that really changed the world, because we were able to keep the lights on 24/7, and darkness became a thing to fear. And that's such a tool of um, you know, capitalist, whatever you want to call it, this, um, I don't know, way that dominates our current world, um, of like I still feel about resting. And for me, my initiation for sure was becoming a mother to a child, that um, just realizing that like I couldn't continue on functioning in that way anymore. And the more that I like started studying birth work and decolonizing all these things alongside each other, it just has me looking around sometimes at like just how many ways we deny the natural like rhythms of life, and how I still feel apologetic. I still feel guilty just like spending the first half of my day um practically horizontal today. And so yeah, I think astrology has really offered that affirming affirmation to our own like intuition too, and then also knowing when to go. So that's what Midori brought up for me this morning when we were checking in about like what we wanted to talk about today. Was last Thursday. My story time was like last Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, it was the last day of the month, and April was, the April showers that are bringing the May flowers. Like the April energy was not conducive to the go 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 yet. We have tax season. We had all of these things we had to do. I had personally um just a lot of like the annual stuff, because I guess I like tend to start things up in Aries season. So I had like annual fees, my car registration, then I had to get car work done. And it was so, as I was keeping up with everything, I was so blocked on like marketing and like selling my services and all the things that I had to do. And then I got to the last day of the month and was like, oh my God, like I need to make it through the end of this day. And was I had like all these I went through so many like shame spirals that day of like how could I let myself like not have the savings to just like I needed like a specific amount to get through the day, and I was just feeling like I should have it together by now, like I should not be getting down to my last dollar by now, like I've been here so many times, like, and I was just feeling so like embarrassed and annoyed, um and then kind of like contrasted with the reminder that I'm existing under capitalism as a single parent household, and there's no shame in that, and that so I made an ask um online of just saying like what I needed what I needed for the day, and I received it, and I received more bookings than I received in the month altogether, in like a 24-hour period. And I was just reminded, like, yeah, these relationships that when I'm resting to, when I'm choosing socializing or, showing up for friends instead of like the things I'm supposed to do. Um, I think there's a lot of times this feeling like we don't have time for being there for people. We don't have time for connection. And there's, if I waited till everything was together, then I have no connections, no friends. I would be completely lonely and isolated all the time. And that's such a tool of these systems, is to isolate us. That's why we can't get an effective general strike or protest movement going, is because people got to show up for work. And um, so it was just such a beautiful reminder immediately that I'm in tune, not only of how much I'm connected to, but also that I'm in tune with these seasons, because everything that I needed showed up right there. The next day, I had what I needed, and I got to redistribute everything that was donated to me to other people who needed it. And just being in this like reciprocal web of care and energetic exchange is just how we keep going. So, yeah, I it's like, yeah, that's my planetary sermon as a Jupiter, as a member of the Jupiter Council, um, and just like the abundance that I've learned through. Thank you for that. The abundance that I've learned, and also like the eighth house journey that I've learned, if we're talking astrology, because um, I have many, many, many eighth house placements, and I think Midori can speak more to like what those things mean. For me, what I understand it means, one, I understand it means I have some fucked up inheritance things with ancestrally, because all my siblings and I are eighth house and 12th house sons. But also, I think it's taught me a lot about I think astrology and that has like taught me how to resource myself in like unconventional ways, and to just trust that things are going to show up um, when I put my energy elsewhere. So yeah, the eighth house is no joke. But I feel integrated this past week in a way that I have not before. And something about the Scorpio full moon feels like a really big, I feel like a big rebirth energetically. And I feel like I'm seeing the seeds that were planted, like I said, 5 years ago. I'm finally experiencing some of the fruits of that. So, for the remainder of our time here, I am being nudged to take us on a little Vision Quest. So this is from the Offerings Oracle by Caitlin Grania, the Mother of Mystics, one of our Church's Soft Power members, and such a powerful spiritual resource and mentor to, I know, many of us. And so Vision Quest and Patience are the two cards that the two offerings that the spirits of soft power are asking of us, because the patient, heavy on the patience, because what we're building here is, I think right now, all this like intense astrology is finally feeling like, oh, my moment where people like that value what I value are can shine. Like that moment's finally arriving, because the world is not built for us. The world has not rewarded integrity or patience or um slowness and rest, obviously. And so it's our time, y'all. It's our time. And we are going to drop in for a few minutes and just connect and be there. And uh Midori and I have been talking about just like our like manifestation. I got to teach my kid the word manifestation this past weekend, and it was really cute. But we've been talking about just like that practice of just like tapping into that energy, letting it expand and multiply, and just being there with where we're at. So many of our visions feel like, well, when I get there, and it's distant and far, and I think things become reality for me by finding the little pockets and moments where I could just experience that, where I can tap into the frequency, if you will, and just allow that to be my baseline that I've like moved to. And now I could honestly say it's the majority of my time where I experience abundance and connection and faith and hope. And it's not all the time, but I know now what I have to do to get back there when I get knocked off, when scarcity creeps in, when fear creeps in. So one of my fears sometimes is that I'm absolutely delusional and that I've been in a 5-year psychosis, and that's real. Like, I'm not even downplaying what um the full respect to people who truly experience that, because there's little moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, am I fully tripping right now? And the truth is, it might all be. We just might all be a little church of church of spiraling. But I choose it here anyways, and so far it's working. And Delulu is oftentimes the Solulu. So I'm gonna play a little background music, and if you're not already as cozy, I love Midori what you said. Get 5% cozier, 5% comfier. Let's see. The Curve of Time is what this track is called. Is this volume ratio okay, Midori? Is that good? Okay. Jasmine says you got the same fear. Okay, so it's not just me. And you know what? That's Jupiter life over here. So, okay, are we 5% cozier? 10%, if you will. Get as cozy as yourself will allow. I'm going to take 3 quiet breaths together as we drop 10% deeper into our portal here that we've created. I can't look at me, Dory. What did I do? Sometimes it feels like just like in a high school class, like just giggling in the back. Okay, shaking it off. Get your giggles out, and inviting you to take in a breath with me. Because we're already rooted and present in this space together, We're going to transport. We're basically already here with the little snap. Space around you, taking shape into your inner garden. This metaphor of the garden being very literal, as you are a beautiful, alive being that has sprouted from seed to full bloom. And present today in your garden, here to notice without judgment if you are feeling this void moon slowness, you can just lie right down in the dirt. But perhaps you want to wander, observe if it's been a few days or even weeks or months since you have tended intentionally to this space. You find yourself in the most flourishing and lively part of the garden. Taking in what is thriving here, resisting both invasive or anything else that might characterize this place that is abundant. And as you get comfortable here in this place in your garden, taking a breath in, just imagining and noticing the time that has lapsed in this spot with these plants or flowers, maybe even food sources. Just being in awe of the ways that it has grown when you weren't looking. I see big, nourishing foods on the vine. Taking a breath of appreciation as you time travel a little bit backwards to when they were just mere seeds. Perhaps they're not even seeds that you planted yourself, but someone did. And you get to perceive the moment that these juicy, delicious vegetables or fruits, zoning in on one in particular, trusting whatever pops into your consciousness, even if it's not one you've ever had, it's just a symbolic fruit or vegetable. But now you're at the moment where it was planted, able to observe who planted it, the intention when they did. Was it seeded and cultivated by an ancestor, or did it fall and get blown in the wind to that perfect spot where it was watered by the rain? Its sustenance that has grown feed you. Is this the first time that it has fruited? Or is it still flowering? The flowering stage often is a stage that brings excitement, and beauty, and hope. Before the leaves or the petals drop, and that center often can grow into something you can really be fed from. So now just imagine going a little forward in linear time. Maybe, if not in this spot of the garden, moving to a place where there are things composting. And your spirits invite you to this moment, this place, to drop anything else into the compost. We are composting old stories, composting things that are ready to just go for the season, that can surely return. Just allowing whatever is coming to you to drop, or just exhaling, giving yourself permission to release whatever it is that wants to be left here. And as we take those final few breaths, leaving whatever is ready to compost behind in this space, lastly, you see a potting bench on the other side of the garden. It has wooden planks, and as you approach it, you see there on a shelf at the top more seeds. They are labeled in envelopes. As you thumb through them, intuitively pulling at least one, perhaps more, that you're ready to plant. As you pull out these seeds, trusting that they will grow in their divine timing, you reach for little pots here at this bench that have already been prepared. with fresh soil made from the compost of things that have been loved and useful in the past, as they welcome these seeds. Opening to hold them, as they nestle into the soil. And if they're the type of seeds that need a different step, just trusting where your imagination places them as you say yes to giving these seeds life. Observing the way that your hands now hold wherever it is you put these seeds, and just for the next minute, imagining the life-giving energy from your heart on your exhale, flowing through your hands as you give life to everything it is you're planting here. Amazed by how you can witness these seeds already receiving, already growing, as you breathe life into these visions or wishes, creations. It is about time to head back as you take your last breath here. And return as this beautiful, thriving garden within you fades from your imagination, your spirit returning to your physical body. And in the timing that is right for you, you can open your eyes again. Maybe placing a hand on your heart, your womb space, trusting that everything will continue in its life cycle in this inner garden, whether you are physically present with it or not, as you are part of this ecosystem that carries this wisdom of how to grow, when to not grow, when to decompose, but that you have given and been given yourself all of the elements necessary to continue through your life cycle. I would love to, if you feel called, to drop in the chat what it is you either saw thriving or dying or being seeded for new life. As we come to a close in our hour, I'm going to pull one last card for us for the offering. Oop, and it was right there. Ooh, silence. With this beautiful plant matter, crystals, and flowing waters. This is our assignment this week, is to be in silence, to give ourselves the darkness that and the stillness that it takes for things to sprout and grow. As I return the floor to Midori to share our announcements. Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful. I pulled that card twice over the past 2 days, so yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Be gentle with yourself. I'm here to just update everyone on what we have going on in the Village in the Sky this month of May 2026. We are continuing to have our soft power co-working every Wednesday from 11 to 12:30. That's just a body doubling space where you can hop on, hop off at any time during that time period and get some stuff done, or really just body double with the frequency. The chat box is always fun. And I love all the regulars that pull up to that space. It's always such a sweet, like low effort, lo-fi space. The following next week on the 11th, I'm hosting our alchemy activation, which is a space for rest and expressive arts. And the people that participate are always people who, oh, there we go. Thank you, Siobhan. Are always people that just have such beautiful shares, and what comes through, what they channel through the expressive arts practice is always so beautiful. So I would love to see y'all there if you can make it. Oh, it's not Thursday. Sorry. It's Monday, May 11th. I'm a human. I do not use AI for this. Okay. So there's going to be typos. So that's actually Monday, May 11th. Then we have a fireside chat, which is going to be hosted by village member Gooby on Thursday, May 14th. And that's going to be for village members only in the village sanctuary. It's just going to be, let me read what the description is. I believe it's just COVID. Let me see. Sit down with Soft Power Village member Gooby for a fireside chat about practical applications to preventing COVID and other airborne illnesses or threats. Gooby will be sharing insights from their research. So I'm excited to attend that because I would love to stay updated on that research as well. Then we got Back to Breath with Merrick Syzygy on Friday, May 15th. And this is a breathwork space to sync with your center in the soulmatic session for nervous system expression and regulation. We'll use time-tested methods to tap into somatic awareness and embodiment while using the breath as our anchor. Let's expand our capacity and resilience with intention together. That's a very potent space for just like processing, integration, and just tapping into the power of the breath. The following day, we got on Saturday, May 16th, we have a new moon in Taurus writing circle with B.A. Nathaniel. It's always with a little bit of astro insight, guided writing practice, as well as sharing at the end to integrate for the new moon in Taurus. Then we got on the 21st, the Care Creators Circle, which is our peer space for service providers, doulas, and healing arts practitioners committed to serving our communities in creative, sustainable ways. This gathering intends to give us space to connect, exchange wisdom, and develop our personal frameworks of care through knowledge shares and feedback opportunities rooted in Soft Power's soul-sensitive care framework developed by Siobhan. Agenda is emergent on the group's needs and may include somatic practices, spirit work, and/or creative expression practices. And that is guided by Siobhan, a full spectrum doula. Capacity is limited, so if you would like to join that, please sign up. She intentionally makes that attendee list small so we can really engage and be present with one another and share freely. Then on the 23rd, Saturday, from 12 to 1 p.m., we have Balkan Trance Dance with Merrick Syzygy. I just attended this space on Saturday. It was so beautiful to like dance in community in this way. Find an ancient rhythm and tap into ancestral magic with Balkan Trance Dance. All welcome, where we'll dance the Kolo and alchemical community. Bring your desires and intentions, and we'll raise them and our energy in the virtual circle together. For this session, we'll be learning a simple dance with basic footwork. Yeah, and that space is so sweet. If you're looking to get back into dance, I would say that is a really great space to join. So thank you, Merrick. And then every Monday, the last Monday of the month, we have Village Members Social, which is our members only social for, it kind of has been changing every month. Like this past month, we did a little, like we've had members facilitate spell work. I think this upcoming social will be doing spell work as well. It's a really great way to also just get to know each other and share a little bit about our lives. So if you've been wanting to get to know other members in the church, it's a great place to show up for that. So yeah, that is the calendar for this month. Once again, just going to boost that we have our operational fundraiser to keep our digital lights on, that we are, and our goal is $125 a month. We already got a donation. Shout out to one of our members for already donating. And yeah, this is just what we need to keep us going. We are 100% volunteer led. And so we would just love if you do have the resources, if you enjoy and love what you do, love what we do here, to give in that way, because that is really literally going to contribute to next month's software. So subscription. So all donations to our church are tax deductible, and we love that. So I'll hand that back to Bonnie for our tap out.
Thank you. I would love to read what Hannah shared in the chat, that you are in your grandma's garden in the Philippines. Tall, swirly green beans, squash and watermelon, planted lemon and hibiscus. I was seeing watermelon too. Maybe it was picking up on yours, but that's beautiful and delicious. And just cheers to the season that we are now in. Congratulations. All the astrologers were also saying April was like one of the most intense months of like not just the year, but like recent years in general, these major things that are happening. And so I fully feel like as a collective, we like timeline to something that we probably haven't experienced yet. I feel like I'm in a different reality, and also acknowledging that there are multiple realities happening at the same time, that we are in parallel realities, and that the people who are, our nervous system, why we always center things on the nervous system, is because nervous system is designed to keep us safe in ways that can make it really difficult for our growth if we don't slow down to be in moments like this and consciously choose where we want to be on. That our defaults of survival, especially those of us who we're here in the US, Midori and I are both in the Bay Area, And many of our ancestors, if we're here in the US, came here out of choices for survival that served our survival at minimum. But it takes a lot of intentional work to release some of these adaptations that are no longer supportive to the worlds we want to be in, the individual hyper individualism, the scarcity, the greed, the secrecy, the denial and conformity that has protected many of our ancestors to get us here. We That is why we release and compost things with love, because um, those are the things that allowed me to be alive right now. And at the same time, I know that I'm alive with a bigger purpose for the type of existence that is going to set the pace and the tone, um, and the environment for the next generations ahead, for the children, whether you're children of your birth children of your own or not. So, just extending love and compassion to the people who are so stuck in their survival. I know many of us, if not living with, still are choosing to engage with our relatives and blood family or adoptive families that are not in the place that we're at. And so that's my prayer, is that every person who's watching this recognizes your role and put your, safety first, and also in the moments where you can choose to um, embody the frequency and let that radiate and let people witness the beauty that can come from being in integrity with your values, the fullness and the flowering that can come from choosing connection with people who can understand you, but also why we do this is so that we can also wander outside of our comfort zones to spread our frequency and to let people witness us and the magic that can happen when we are so radically ourselves. So that's my closing words. And I love every one of you. Thank you, Midori, for being the co host and co founder of my dreams. And sending you off with love. Good night, everyone.